Norway, a land of dramatic fjords and towering mountains, presents a formidable challenge to any builder. The climate is harsh and unforgiving, with long, dark winters characterized by heavy snowfall and freezing temperatures. The Vikings, renowned seafarers and warriors, were also skilled builders. They adapted their architectural techniques to the specific demands of their environment, utilizing readily available materials and incorporating ingenious design principles. Wood, a plentiful resource in Norway's forests, formed the primary structure of their homes. The Vikings needed an effective insulation material, and they found it in an unlikely source: moss. Moss, often overlooked as a humble plant of the forest floor, played a crucial role in Viking architecture. Its unique properties made it an ideal insulation material, providing warmth and protection against the harsh Norwegian climate. Different varieties of moss were used, each with its own specific characteristics, but all shared the ability to trap air and regulate moisture. Large quantities were gathered from the forests, carefully dried, and then packed tightly between the wooden timbers of the houses. This thick layer of moss created a highly effective barrier against the cold, keeping the interior warm even during the harshest winters. The remarkable insulating properties of moss are rooted in its unique cellular structure. The individual moss plants are composed of tiny, interconnected filaments that create a dense network of air pockets. These air pockets trap still air, which is a poor conductor of heat, effectively preventing heat transfer. Beyond its insulation properties, moss also exhibits exceptional moisture-wicking capabilities. The cellular structure of moss can absorb and release moisture without losing its insulating effectiveness. This prevents the buildup of dampness within the walls, which could lead to rot, mold growth, and structural damage. It is a renewable resource that can be harvested without causing significant environmental damage. Unlike many modern insulation materials, moss is a natural biodegradable product. The construction of a Viking moss house was a meticulous process that involved several stages. First, a sturdy wooden frame was erected using locally sourced timber. The next step involved the careful placement and packing of the dried moss between the wooden timbers. This process required skill and patience to ensure a tight, even layer of insulation. The moss was then meticulously packed into the spaces between the wooden beams, creating a dense, airtight barrier. The roof of the moss house was typically constructed using wooden planks or shingles, covered with a layer of turf or sod. This additional layer of insulation further protected the house from the elements, particularly rain and snow. The combination of the wooden frame, the thick moss insulation, and the turf-covered roof created a remarkably effective and sustainable dwelling. The Vikings' use of moss as a building material is resonating with modern architects and builders seeking sustainable and environmentally friendly solutions. The growing interest in bio-based materials and passive house design has led to a renewed appreciation for the insulating and moisture-regulating properties of moss. Architects are exploring ways to incorporate moss into contemporary building practices, drawing inspiration from the ancient wisdom of the Vikings. Green roofs, covered with a layer of living moss, provide insulation, reduce stormwater runoff, and improve air quality. Moss walls, both interior and exterior, offer aesthetic appeal while also contributing to thermal regulation and sound absorption. Research into the use of moss in building materials is ongoing. The resurgence of interest in moss as a building material highlights a growing awareness of the need for sustainable and environmentally responsible construction practices. The Vikings' mastery of moss in building offers valuable lessons for modern architects and builders striving for a more sustainable future. Their intimate knowledge of their environment and their resourcefulness in utilizing readily available materials are principles that resonate deeply with contemporary sustainable building practices. By embracing these principles, we can create buildings that are not only environmentally responsible but also resilient and adaptable to changing climates. The Vikings' emphasis on local sourcing of materials is particularly relevant today. Minimizing transportation distances reduces the carbon footprint of construction and supports local economies. The use of renewable materials like moss further reduces environmental impact and promotes a circular economy. By embracing a more holistic and sustainable approach to building, we can create a built environment that is in harmony with nature and supports a healthier and more resilient future.